Hey everyone, in this video I just wanted to point out a small thing about posting to the timeline that makes a really big difference in terms of its legibility. Before I get there, I just wanted to re-emphasize the idea that when I post grades for our course, I really try to focus on feedback. That's why I try to respond to you as possible on the discussion board directly there. I do use the feedback feature ability in the gradebook, whatever that's. Hopefully, you know what I'm talking about. You should be able to see the feedback that I've left you via the gradebook, and so I try to be as communicative and helpful through feedback as I can be. Because to me, the idea of or the process of learning has to do with practicing and trying to put in what we can, because what we put in is what we're going to get out in terms of learning, especially once we've realized, as we are and have in our class, that history is not about memorizing things. It's about analysis, it's about reading, it's about comparing and contrasting and figuring out what the fullest picture of past events as possible is. Um, so I do put zeros in if you've missed assignments, if they're past the due date, just so you know you have some things past the due date, but you can still complete any or all of those things. If I gave you a zero on the Twitter assignment, but you are on Twitter and you did post there, please just either mention me. My Twitter handle is at CNMBrandon, or send me an email with your Twitter handle so that I can find you there and give you credit for your work. Also, remember there is that opt-out. If you'd rather not be posting on Twitter, you can do the Twitter work in the discussion forum that is called Reading Tweets. Okay, so to show you what I mean here about legibility, as you scroll through the timeline, when you see the thumbnails for people's entries, they should look like Daniel's, even when they're complete, meaning that you shouldn't see any words here under his name. When you click on more, that's when you see the bulk of the entry. So here he has written, his entry paragraphs, and you can see when you click find out more, that will take you to his outside source. To go into what that looks like in the admin section, I'm going to find his entry on the Pueblo Revolt right here. You'll notice he did not post his paragraphs here in the intro box. Instead, he posted them in extra info. So please do post your work, the bulk of the entry and extra info. That's what makes it display in that way that you can see here. So again, clicking on his, you can see that the text is in normal font rather than italics. You can see that the paragraph breaks are there, and so on. When you look at one that where the bulk of the text was posted into the intro box, it kind of scrunches everything together and all of the text ends up being in italics. So it's just harder to read. So again, please, if you can, go back and cut and paste your entry into the extra info box instead. That would make a lot of difference for us. And again, you can tell if you've done that, whether or not the thumbnail looks like this one with no text below it, or like these where there is text. I did want to point out, I don't take off points if you've done that. So if you've posted like Jenna or Marissa or Jeanette, you're not going to lose points for that. This is just something that will hopefully help us make the timeline a bit more readable. I don't take off points for technological issues. So I do understand sometimes Tiki-Toki gets busy and you might have a hard time posting your work here. Sometimes it doesn't save the date entry that you put. So for example, as I'm scrolling over, sometimes your entry just ends up first, even if you've already fixed the date. It just does that sometimes. So again, I get those things. I'll point them out to you in my feedback so that you can watch out for it just in case, because we want to do the best we can to make the timeline as useful for learning as possible for us as we work together. But again, I'm not here dinging you on points if it doesn't look perfect on Tiki-Toki. The most important thing, and I'll be sending you feedback on Unit 2 entries here soon. Those are due tonight, the 28th of April. So I'll be sending that feedback soon, and I will point stuff out there. Um, the most important thing is historical significance. So you need to have explained the so what of your topic in your entry. Explain to the rest of us why this topic matters if we want to really understand New Mexico history, and to do that in a specific way. So remember, I've said elsewhere in some of the tutorials, it's not enough just to say that the Pueblo Revolt forever changed relations between the Spaniards and the Pueblo people. That's not wrong, but it doesn't really tell us what changed, how it changed, why that matters. So again, you need to say something more specific about the types of ways that the relationships between Spaniards and the colonized Pueblos changed after the revolts, once the Pueblos pushed the Spaniards out of Santa Fe and down to El Paso. So, all right. Again, that's just an example. As always, please let me know what questions you have, and I hope that you're having a good Wednesday.